On to block B. So the things you're going to cut for block B, out of the blue tan, you're going to be cutting 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles, 4 2.5 inch squares. Out of the cream, you're going to cut 4 2.5 by 4.5 inch rectangles. And out of the dark brown, you're going to cut 4 2.5 inch squares. Then out of this tan gray, you're going to cut 8 2.5 inch squares. So we're going to set the, not this color. We're going to use that color. We're going to put aside the cream and we're going to use the brown and the tan. So this one gets set aside too. So the first one that we're going to, unit that we're going to make is a flying geese. So we're going to draw a diagonal line from corner to corner on all of the 2.5 inch squares. But the first one that we're working with is the dark brown. So I like to use a chalk pencil. Laura, you want to hand that one to me?
This one here?
Yeah, this is the one I like to use. It's a sew line, it's white chalk, or you can use the just a mechanical pencil for the lighter fabrics. But for the dark ones, it's really convenient to have that pencil. You're going to position it like the diagram. It goes from the middle at the top down to the corner. And you're going to do that for all 4 of these rectangle and 2.5 inch dark brown units. And you're going to go ahead and sew on that line, just like that. Then what we like to do is we just fold it over and we check to make sure it looks nice and square. You don't want it so that it is slightly off or anything. So make sure that your seam is good and straight, that your square was square. Once that is checked, you're going to trim 1/4 inch away from that seam line. And then you're going to position the other cream or the tan gray square. You're going to position that on the other side with your diagonal from going from the middle down to the end, and you'll position and sew on that line. And then we'll press that out, make sure it covers, and if we like it, we'll just trim 1/4 inch away from that edge. So you'll be making 4
of those units.
4 of these flying geese.
Fabulous.
The next piece we're going to make is a parallel flying geese. You're going to start with your 2.5 by 4.5 cream square, and you'll use the blue 2.5 inch square. So same thing, we're going to draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of the fabric. We'll position that on the rectangle. You're going to go from top middle down to the corner, and you'll sew on that line, just like this one. I like to fold it over and check to make sure it looks good and lined up. I'll trim 1/4 inch away from that edge if I like it. And then we're going to position the next piece on there. The next tan one also gets a drawn line corner to corner, but this time the direction of the line is going parallel with this line because we're making a parallel flying geese. I like sewing from the middle instead of the corners. The reason why is sometimes when you start from the corner, the needle will push the corner into that little pit of darkness where there's crying and gnashing of teeth. So just flip this around, line it up from the middle, and then sew down to the corner. We'll fold it over to make sure it lines up just nicely, and that is a very pretty block.
And we'll do that to all 4 of those units.
So we'll make 4 of these. Now, this can get a little tricky. I've already done seam ripping because sometimes these get rotated. Just be very careful that your alignment is like the diagrams so that you'll end up with all 4 identical pieces. So now we're going to put those pieces together. So I've got my parallel flying geese, and then I have my flying geese, and we're going to put those together. Now in the pressing instructions, it shows that the pressing goes out, away from the white, and then the pressing also goes towards the flying geese wings. We're going to line up those. Now my trick is when you have an intersection from this point to this one that I want it to line up, you're going to just pin it. So a lot of times you can measure where your 1/4 inch is. I kind of know exactly where I'm the 1/4 inch because I've sewn it a million times, but I'm going to sew or line up my 1/4 of an inch on both. I'll dangle it off the pin, just like that. And then I'm going to pin both the ends. Once my ends are pinned, I'm going to pin the left and right sides. And the reason I pin the left and right sides instead of rotating this pin, because once you rotate that pin to pin, you just misalign that alignment. So it's best if you use that to hold it still and then pin it on each side. Then this one can come out and you're ready to sew that.
Well, I'm going to sew that and we're going to finish making the rest of the units and put this square together.
Sounds good. We've made 4 identical units by pairing a flying geese and a parallel flying geese. And now by rotating those units, you're going to get your square. So now it's the puzzle game. Okay, that one rotates like that. This one rotates like this. And this one rotates like this one. Oh, goodness.
That is cute as can be.
That's pretty.
Now, Lisa and I, being identical twins, we've always loved playing the same but different game. So what if we took those same little pieces and made them different? So what if we took and rotated it and moved these all to the inside?
Oh, is that
Check
so
it
cute
out.
too?
And then what if we did that again? What if we took this guy to the inside and we played with having... So there's just so many fun ways that you can actually play with your same unit. So it's this unit, and just depending on how we rotated it, we came up with different block ideas. But we're going to stick with a pattern. And then, oh, how did that go? There we go.
It is a puzzle. There we go.
Keep flipping
okay,
up.
that's real pretty.
So now we're going to sew our halves and then our halves to our top and bottom.
So we'll sew those 2 halves together, these 2 halves together. We'll press like the arrows show, and then we'll sew these 2 together.
Awesome. Let's get on with block C then.